Hey, welcome back to TML Weekly, round 2, Game 5 preview show. We've got Johnny over here. How you doing tonight, bud?
Pretty good, pretty good. Hey, by the way, I noticed Nolan's looking better and better all the time.
Nolan's doing like the Benjamin Button thing. So instead of getting older, he's getting younger, that kind of thing. So welcome, Nolan. We're kidding. Welcome, Jack. Jack's becoming part of this all the time here. He's been out a lot.
A couple of guest appearances sneaking in.
He knows his playoff predictions too. Let's not forget that. Thanks again, as always, to Bjorn and Don Cherries for sponsoring the show. I want to lead off with something that's not Leafs or even hockey related, and I think it's the biggest news of the day. So, Major League Baseball has allowed. That doesn't mean these two individuals are in the Hall of Fame, but what it says is that they're allowed to be on a ballot now. So Pete Rose would be, one, and Joe Jackson the other. And just off the air, John kind of brought it to light. Yeah, we're talking apples and oranges here. I was a big Pete Rose fan growing up because he was just unbelievable. He'd get on base and the way I remember watching him take a walk one time, and he took off running like he was trying to run out an infield single. Charlie Hustle, and he made some mistakes for sure. He gambled, but it was never proven, and they knew that he was betting on his team to win, which is different than betting on your team to lose. But at the end of the day, Mr. Rose died last year. I think, I really hope that he gets the recognition he deserves as a player. People make mistakes, and you talk about mistakes, then you've got all these guys that hit 1,000 home runs that aren't in because of either allegedly or even proven. There were some depositions in the U.S. that but I know for a fact that most of them were doing it. I had a friend that was in an organization behind a really good third baseman, and he was in AAA, and they basically said, "Hey, you know what? You want to make the big leagues? Yeah. Well, you got to start juicing because you got to hit 20 more home runs if you want to play there." And he did. Testament to his character.
For sure.
But, at the end of the day, Pete Rose, I think, should be in the Hall of Fame. What do you think?
I'm of a very mixed mindset on this. No one will not convince me that Pete Rose is not the best hitter that's ever played. The guy could hit the baseball like it was going out of style. I love the way he played. The whole Charlie Hustle moniker and all that. It was great. He's running over guys in the All-Star game, like just beauty. However, with that being said, the cardinal sin, the one thing that you could never do, that no one could ever do, was bet on baseball. It's really the only infallible sin, and he committed it.
Yeah.
He did it, and he knew he did it. Now, again, I'm not saying that it's right, wrong, or indifferent. We punished the guy for what he did while he was alive. I think it was Bart Giamatti that was the guy that did it in '88.
Banned him from baseball.
Yeah. No more appeal, just done. And so, listen, while he was alive, they put the screws to him. He had that infamous Jim Gray interview in the All-Star game a few years back. And listen, Pete Rose didn't do himself any favors.
No.
Right? I mean, I feel like if Pete Rose had to come clean and just said, you know what, I did it. I didn't bet on my team to lose. I bet on my team to win. Here are the betting slips. I did it. You got
eventually
me.
Did.
Fall on the sword. You know what I mean? I think he would have been okay. I do think we're in a different world now. With legalized sports betting and where it is, sure. and especially with the leagues making the amount of revenue that they are off of these betting sites, that the idea that you're going to keep Rose out for it, even though, so Pete Rose, I'm okay with. I can see the argument. I shouldn't say I'm okay with it. I can see the argument if you're going to allow it. The Joe Jackson thing, I can't get there myself. You threw the World Series. I like to even pretend to say that you're going to, even 100 years later, 110 years later, I'm not down for that, man. If you like, it's one of the things, and to kind of bring it back into hockey land. I always say when I hear that, remember the penalty we had where he got called for embellishment after Lawton hit him in the boards. I can't remember who he hit.
Rodriguez.
Hits him, and so he gets called for embellishment
because he threw himself into the boards like he was shot.
But so follow me on this. If you're getting called for embellishment, in my mind, that is the worst thing that you can do in sports, right? It's like flopping in the NBA. And if you want to get this stuff out of the game, if you get called for embellishment, it should be a penalty for integrity of the game. It should be an automatic 5 minutes and a 1-game suspension.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree.
You're going to get that crap out of the game so fast.
Yeah.
Right? Because
just be thankful that it's not like soccer.
Well, no, but like soccer needs the same. Like that's like soccer needs the same.
They're next level. You got guys that aren't even touching guys, and the guys were. There was a penalty called. Jack and I were at the Wanderers game the other night, and there was a little bit of contact made in the box with this guy. You would have thought that he was dying.
He wasn't very far. He was a sniper in the ninth row.
He was bad.
I know.
And then as soon as they call the penalty, then he gets up and he limps about 4 steps and then he runs into the play.
No, that's what I look at when I see the argument for Joe Jackson. It's the integrity of the game. The one thing that can never be in doubt is the integrity of the game.
He did the wrong thing, and that's where I was going to go to Jack. Like at the end of the day, you get Aaron Ekblad, Florida Panthers that got caught this year with substances that he shouldn't have. He got 20 games. He served his time. But is 20 games enough? Right? We go back to the Leafs. So Jack, what's your opinion? If somebody cheats, if somebody takes, a drug or a steroid or something like that and there's a couple of reasons to take it. You can take it to enhance your performance, make you stronger or faster or whatever, but it also helps you recover from injuries a lot quicker.
And that's the big one.
When you're on steroids, you're not out as long, right? So what's your opinion? If somebody gets caught in any sport using a substance that's illegal to make them better or get an advantage, what would you think the penalty should be?
Yeah, I think they should be suspended for like 20 to 30 games.
First offense. What if they did it again?
Then, I don't know, but way longer.
Yeah, so if Ekblad all of a sudden next year gets tested again and the same kind of thing, like maybe a year, maybe life, maybe, 5 years, I don't know, but there has to be deterrence for this behavior. You look at Shane Pinto with the Ottawa Senators, who Toronto played in the first round. He got suspended for 40 games, something to do with gambling, but he wasn't even gambling on his team. Like he was basically used the app, and he had a buddy. I don't even know the whole story.
That was the thing. Yeah, he was placing
but it didn't sound like it should have. You know what I mean? But I guess their threshold is when you have you talked about all the gambling revenue in the league. Can you imagine 25 years ago if somebody had said, hey, in 25 years, there's going to be a NFL team and there's going to be an NHL team in Las Vegas? I would have called you nuts.
Okay, so
those leagues would never go there based on but the world's changed, right? It's all
so Johnny,
online.
I'm the world's biggest UNLV fan, and I remember when I was in Vegas. Yeah, it's very random, I know, but like when I was in Vegas, you couldn't even bet on UNLV at a college level.
Oh yeah.
Right, in Vegas. You could bet North Carolina, Duke, Tennessee, whoever you wanted. You couldn't bet Vegas in Vegas, which was crazy.
Yeah, you can go on your phone right now and put $1,000 on who wins the first face-off at the Leaf Florida game tomorrow night and get odds. Like you bet on anything.
Yeah.
Which, is probably not the greatest thing. And, hopefully people that have issues with gambling can, understand.
Well, and I will say this on a separate aside, I know that both. So my one daughter now, Kara, is in high school. My oldest is in university, and both of them have friends that rampant into sports gambling. Like, I mean,
Really? Oh,
like ridiculous.
yeah.
And so, parents, if you're watching, keep an eye on the kiddos, man. Like, that's it's a big deal. And if your kids are, in that high school age or in university and they are into sports, I guarantee you check their phones. They got a betting app going on.
It's not. It's called gambling for a reason. You may get lightning in the bottle every now and then, but
the house never loses.
For you to not.
The house never loses.
Right.
Okay,
we like
so
little family pools and stuff like that. That's our gambling, Jackie?
Yeah.
So I got a couple things here. I kind of have, we don't have Nolan here to keep us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, it could be a wild one tonight.
We do have a few things to cover. So I did make some notes here. So we talked about Shoeless Joe and Pete. So my thoughts on Game 4. And we were texting the whole game with Nolan and Jack was sitting with me, so he knew. At the end of the day, they could have won that game.
Right there.
Right? And Game 3 went to overtime. So Toronto was all over them for the first 10 12 minutes of that overtime. Toronto had the chances. Florida had nothing going at Wall. And then the tide turned and boom. It's a fluke, right? So it could be 3-0 there. And then last night they could have swept them.
Yeah.
Like Toronto's played well. Wall played fantastic last night. I hate to waste that, but it's okay. Like if you had said to me before the series, okay, as a Leaf fan, if you had said, hey, you know what? Toronto's going to win 2 at home. Florida's going to win 2 at home. Would you go to a best of 3 with Game 1 and 3 in Toronto? I'd go, yep, sign me up. For sure. So you got to look at it from that side. But the big boys have to step up here. Like their legacies their personal legacies are on the line here, right? Like Matthews and Marner, and I'm one that historically, if you go back and watch the video, I'm one that defends these guys. Oh well, it's they got to man up. They got to go out tomorrow night and play hockey the right way. Don't leave your defensive responsibilities because you're doing a somewhat, remarkable job at that at most times. Like that line is not getting beat 5-on-5. Having said that, you're the best players, in the world. Edmonton Oilers have Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, right? Okay, great. Fantastic. But guess what? They don't have that much around them. A couple of defensemen, a little bit of depth, but not what Toronto. They don't have a lineup like the Toronto Maple Leafs supporting Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. But it seems to every single time these guys need to step up, they do. Right? No matter who's around them and who's playing in their net or whatever, they get the job done. Mitchell Marner and Austin Matthews in Game 5 and moving forward have to play the way they did for the most part in round 1. The problem is it gets harder, right? You score 69 goals in the regular season, yeah, okay, it's fantastic. Marner had 100 and some odd points this year. It's wonderful, right? Round 1, their point a game, played well. Round 2, when it gets harder, so now it's they got to man up.
Okay,
but I think the rest of the group I'm okay with. A couple of you see some things in game that may concern you more than when you step back and look at the whole picture. And this is my opinion, of course. But for the most part, I like the Domi thing. I think I might have predicted something like that. I was like, they got to do something right now. Like you got to send a message. And then you got, I don't know if you noticed, John, but when Kachuk was yelling at Nylander and he was poking his stick at Nylander, see who stepped up and said, yeah, okay. And last year it was Luke Shen. Remember Luke Shen got in the way and he in the Boston series or whoever it was, and he's like, yeah. It was nice. So Nyes is stepping in and going, okay, do something when I'm on the ice, he's saying to Matthew Kachuk, right? There's
Listen,
your guy. That's
Johnny,
your future. That guy is the future of this team.
Johnny,
That's nice.
It's funny. I was watching the game the other night, and when Nyes had the breakaway goal? Was that game 3? I can't even remember now. Game 2,
I think.
And I you know what I said to the bride that, like, you're watching a guy. Do you remember last year? It was his first year, and about 40 games, a 40 game, like first full year, right? And about 40 games in, you notice the dip, right? And then everybody was going, "Oh, I don't know about this kid," but if you know, you know.
Play call. You didn't play in the junior.
But that's what I'm saying, right? So the dip's expected. And this year, he came in. He was built. He was ready to go. He understood what a full NHL season consisted of, and ups and downs still, right? Like, he wasn't great all year, but you know what he was? He was learning the game at the pro level. And you're watching him take a step, like a significant step. And the crazy thing about this is the first of many steps, I think, with Matthew Nyes. Matthew Nyes is showing that he belongs, that it's not that you're getting points because you're playing with Matthews and Marner. You're a legit developing into a power forward in the NHL. So that, listen, I've got nothing but positives to say about Matthew Nyes. Big Matthew Nyes fan. Kara loves him.
If his agent came to me tomorrow and I'm Brad Treliving and said, we'll sign right now for 8 years for $12 million, I can't print
it in a heartbeat. You do it in a heartbeat. Oh, of course you do. No questions.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about what I feel like I talk about all the time, right? Your best players need to be your best players if you're going to win. So let's talk about our best players. William Nylander. Listen, if you're going to critique William Nylander, and the critique on William Nylander is he's a fly-by guy and doesn't hit people, right? That's the critique from people.
That going in.
But hold on. If that's the critique, right?
Yeah.
Is he delivering when he has the puck? And is he scoring goals? And is he doing the things to generate offense? And if you're of the mindset, which I'm not, that William Nylander needs to be going out and smashing people, because I don't believe that's why William Nylander needs to do to be successful. He's the guy that's generating the offense right now for us. I don't have a problem with William Nylander. Do people want William Nylander to be Doug Gilmour and Wendell Clark? Absolutely. We all do, right? That's not his game. That's not his style. It's never been. It's not going to be. We need, like, Leaf fans need to get over that. Like, that's just not who this player is. But if he's scoring when it matters, I think we're all okay with that. So, William Nylander. My
problem with Nylander, and I said this in the group text.
I know you did. No, I know. Yeah.
My problem with him is he either looks like the best player on the planet. Like, one shift, he can look like Connor McDavid with the speed and the hands and the vision and just the whole package, man. I'm telling you, I'm like, holy smokes, that guy is good. And then the next shift, he looks like a beer league guy on a Sunday night. With 4 beer into him, hacking darts in the dressing room before the game, and he's out there going up and down his wing and just can't wait to get the games over so he can go to the bar. That's what he reminds me of. Something, honestly, just disinterested. But then
listen, he's a new generation player, man. I'm not like, listen. Do I love every aspect of William Nylander's game? No, but do I accept him for what he is? Sure.
For sure.
Now, so now.
What about you, Jack? What do you think of Nylander thus far? I mean, putting up the points, right?
Yeah, I think he's been doing pretty fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the miracle reincarnation in a contract season that is John Tavares. I love Tavares' first 2 games. I wasn't crazy on the last 2, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. I think he'd tell you that.
Yeah, no, like, if I'm being completely honest, I feel like there's been a bit of a dip in Tavares on faceoffs. And listen, I get, for all those people that are watching that are going to say, 48, 52%, win the faceoffs that really matter in your defensive zone or in the offensive zone in a big play where you need something, right? And that's where I've seen the dip from Tavares, and that's what I don't particularly love.
Like I said earlier, it gets harder. Face-offs.
John, don't misunderstand the point. I get it.
I'm just saying
it totally gets harder. But
for the person listening, it's harder. Like if you're 60% in the regular season, in the first round you're 55. In the second round you're hoping 50. To be 50 because you're playing good centermen, right? The teams that are left all have good centermen. It's tough, right?
So listen. So I'm not down on Tavares overall. I'm not down on Tavares overall. I think Tavares has been fine. I don't think he's been great. I don't think he's been terrible. I think he's been fine. So, is it enough to maybe get through the next round? No, I need Tavares to step it up a little bit. I need him to be game 1 and game 2 Tavares as opposed to game 3 and game 4. But I'm okay on Tavares. Jackie, what do you feel about Johnny? How's Johnny Toronto been?
He's been pretty good. Him and Nylander.
Okay, so if you were going to grade them, would you give them A's, B's, C's, D's? What are you feeling?
B+ or A-.
Okay, I can live with that. So
now, it's here's the crazy thing, and we could go on and on about what we don't like and what we like and what we and disagree forever. But like I said in the opening, could be 4-0 right now, and they have the best players and the best player, right? They get a bounce in game 4. One bounce if Nyes had scored that shorthanded goal, that game's over.
Or Tavares taps it and misses the goal by like that much. Like, right? No, I'm with you.
So optimistically, and having this little extra day is massive. So here's the things that I would do going in if I'm coaching that hockey club.
So hold on, before we get there, before we get there,
okay.
Let's talk about the other two.
Who? Well, I don't think much needs to be said. They got to be better. They got to score goals.
Okay, right? so I
still has to shoot the puck.
I'm going to give you two things here. Okay, I'm not shockingly, I'm not going to be critical of Matthews here. Okay, I think Austin Matthews is he's snake bit right now. He's on a career basis. Matthews is roughly a 16% shooter. So he scores on roughly 16% of his shots, roughly over his career. Sometimes, it's in the 20s. Sometimes it's in the low teens, but on average, about 16 points. Right now, he's shooting 5%. Okay. If he was not getting any shots on goal and was floating through the ice and I would be all over. I have no problem calling it out. He is missing the net by millimeters on shots. Shots that always go in are just off. He's just smidges out. Listen, I understand if you're watching right now and you're going, John, I don't care. You're paid to score. You're right. You're 100% right, and I can't refute the point. All I'm saying with Matthews is it's going to come, and when the first one goes in, it's going to be a cavalcade after that.
I don't disagree. Yeah,
that's what I believe.
You know what? The nicest goal he scored in the playoffs was right on the ice.
Yeah,
and to stop this, you're going to hit the net 50% more of the time if you shoot it low than when you shoot it high, because he's hitting the plane of the net. It's going over him,
and he's getting the looks. They're just not dropping. And you know what? Ask Steph Curry about shooting threes. There's sometimes he's the greatest 3-point shooter of all, and there's some games where he's 2 of 12, and you're going, Steph Curry's 2 of 12. What are we?
And I know what you're going to say. Marner's got to shoot the puck.
Listen, okay, so if I told you that Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Morgan Riley have 2 shots less than Mitch Marner, I don't know what to say. Mitch Marner has not had a shot on goal in game 3 and game 4. And listen, Mitch Marner has been irrelevant in game 3 and game 4. And so I don't know what else to say.
Wow.
Outside of,
I already said it.
How you can be
man up and play hockey the right way the next couple of nights.
But John,
their legacies, their personal legacies. And this is done. The band will be broke if they lose this series.
Well, the way I'm looking at it is what I've seen from Mitch Marner this year
probably
is everything that I've seen from Mitch Marner for the last 8 years. everything, right? You know, we listen after the Four Nations.
Having said that, he was terrific, and
we were fired up, right? We were like, maybe this is the turning point. Maybe this is the point.
And it's 2-2, right? So he's got time, right?
He does have time, but boy, he better figure it out in a freaking
He can erase all of this.
He could, Johnny. He could.
You know, Leaf Nation. He can erase all of this if he goes out and is a key contributor in the next 2 games, and they go deep. They'll never have a path like this ever. Like Carolina's going to trap them, right? But Toronto has a lot more weapons in different places that they can throw than Washington does at this point.
Jack, give me your impression of Mitch Marner. What do you think if you were talking to Mitch right now? What would you say to Mitch?
I think he's playing fine. He just needs to get more shots, as you guys are saying.
Yeah, he's got the puck a lot. Right. You know, I think he'll be there. I mean, you know, you got to be optimistic here. At the end of the day, it could be 4-0, and we just talked about all the issues. I think the defense, for the most part, has been fine. Benoit is turning into a absolute stud in this hockey league. What do you got him for another year at 1.5 or something like that? He's going to be a $5 or $6 million defenseman on his next deal. It's fantastic. Does everything the right way.
And you know what? Not that I ever want to give this guy credit, but I think this was a Dubas guy that we did. We not get him from the Islanders? Did he not come from the Islanders?
Yeah, I thought it was Anaheim.
Oh, it might have been Anaheim. Yeah, it could have been. But either way,
fantastic. I mean, he's right. You put him in any situation right now.
Do you want to know what he turned into? He turned in what I think Keefe wanted Justin Hall to be.
Yeah, he's just smarter.
Yeah, just just a better player, right?
Hall was as good of a skater and similar size. He just didn't make
not as gritty
decisions when he needed it.
No,
when the time and space got a little tighter, he would Justin Hall or what is it? Hall.
So let's talk about something that I think is a positive story. Joseph Wall in that last game, boy, that guy stood on his head and gave this team absolutely every chance to stay in that hockey game. That game in the first. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here. Now I'm getting fired up.
Shocker.
So, when was the last time that you watched a playoff hockey game in the second round where one team had 4 penalties called in the first 11 minutes of the game? And listen, I am okay as a fan watching the game. If the referees are sending the message, we're calling it tight, boys. And if you're a moron, we're going to call it. I'm okay. And I guarantee you, everybody on both benches is okay if you say right off the bat, we're going to call it, and we're calling it. But listen, you can't tell me you're calling the game when I watched Chris Tanev get murdered in front of the net with a 2-hander to the back while he has the puck, and both officials are looking at him after you've called. No, this was 3 penalties in a row on the Leafs. I
thought it should have been, honestly, and we were texting about this during the game. All 4 of Toronto's penalties were penalties.
Well, right? The third one wasn't, where he had the stick around him and they called it a can opener. He didn't even have a stick on him.
Anyway, I didn't mind any of those calls. I think Florida should have had 2 or 3 in the same period. If you're calling that, you got to call this, right?
If you're going to call that, you got to call it both ways. That's all I'm saying.
What about the chicken wing on Marner by Kulikov?
Listen,
how's that not looked at?
Listen, the game before, we had Ekblad doing a Roman Reigns Superman punch down on Joseph Wall. Everybody pretends like that never happened. Yeah. You had the Pope in game 1 get killed in front of the net at the end of the period. Everybody pretends that never happened. You get Marner getting the fly by elbow. That never happened. It's incorrigible that they allow this stuff and that these referees have absolutely no accountability, right? Mm-hmm. And then what? If you're if you're the Chief and you get up after the game and you say this is BS and it should have been called and it wasn't, you're going to get a $25,000 fine for saying exactly what everybody else already thinks, knows, and believes. Garbage. I'm fired up now, John. Now I'm good. Let's go. Let's keep her going.
I'm gonna get you worked up a little bit later about the broadcast, but right now I wanted to move on and talk. Game 5, obviously massive, right? We really a lot of times, I don't know, it's 70 or 72 or something. If a series is tied 2-2, the team that wins Game 5, 2/3 of the time at least are going to win the series. So it's massive, right? So if I'm coaching Toronto, I'm doing two things that, John, you're going to look at me and probably laugh or whatever. I want Jack's opinion on it too. But I'm going to do two things. The first one's not so subtle, but I'm going to have at least one defenseman on every power play against the Florida Panthers.
Have to.
I agree. Past them, I would reassess that, if you got Carolina or Washington. But because it had some pretty good success in the regular season and in round 1. But it gets harder, right?
And Johnny, we've been burned.
Yeah.
How many times do you need to see yourself get burned against this team?
Yeah. You can't. I mean, you just can't leave yourself that vulnerable. Out of the 6 guys, I said the other night, I'd love to see Benoit get a shot on that and take that big clapper. In the right situation, right? Try it out. Maybe they're working on stuff in practice. They have the extra day. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mask this until puck drop. But when the puck drops on Wednesday night, the lines aren't the same. And I don't know what I'd do. I've thought about it a lot, right? But something's going to change. I'm going to move 2 of those pieces on the top 6 are going to flip. And I don't know who or what or how, but that's up to Craig Berube and his staff. But you want to almost come in with that surprise factor. Barkov's a problem, a big problem. And watching him play 4 games in a row, you don't see that. This guy plays hockey. He's big, he's heavy. He reminds me of as far as taking the puck away and being in good defense position, Pavel Datsyuk, right? You remember how Pavel Datsyuk just picking guys' pockets and this guy's Datsyuk, but with 40 more pounds and 4 inches. He's massive. He's a big man, right? So he's a problem. So you've got to kind of you've got home ice for the next, you've got to figure out which guys are going to thrive without Barkov in their back pocket. And you've got 2 of these next 3 games at home, right? You've got enough sample size against this group to know, okay, who can play against Barkey and who can't. And that's what Chief should have been doing the last 3 days. Is okay, we're gonna come in and all of a sudden, this is the matchup we want. We've got home ice advantage. We're gonna get it because the matchup's not working right now. Right, they're not getting the offense 5-on-5. They need it. They need to shake this up. But you also got to be careful because Barkov line will score on you if you don't watch them. So listen, I don't know.
And
I'm mixing it up.
Listen, Matthews is effectively like what if you want to be critical on Austin for not scoring? I'm okay with it. I made my point on I think it's going to turn eventually. It better be soon, but I do think it's going to turn. But Matthews has effectively neutralized Barkov so far. Barkov, again, if you watched their run last year, this guy is. Listen, he's not the captain that's hoisting the cup for no reason, right?
Oh, 100%.
He's a stud, and he's a stud both ways. So
you just said it, though. Matthews is handling them. Here's my question. Is Marner? Or are you better off to put Bobby McMahon or Pacioretty out?
John, so I was going to wait till you were done. Remember how you were saying about guys that you're going to shift up and guys that you're going to shift down and whatnot?
I'd put McMahon or I'd put Patches up with Matthews and
Bobby
Nice.
McMatthews.
And I'd move Marner back with JT and Nylander on the wing. And now Florida's going to have a bigger problem. Now they're going to go, oh shit, what are we going to do?
I agree with you. Yeah. And listen, we need listen, Bobby McMatthews needs for everybody that thinks Bobby's new on the scene, and he is relatively. He's 28 years old. He's not a child. This is not like he's learning how to be a pro. He's gone 12 or 14 games or something. It might even be longer than that without scoring. Bobby McMatthews can score, right? But what else?
Protecting the puck when he has it. He's giving it away.
Listen, you don't misunderstand the point. He can score, right?
But what else? Your buddy Robertson in.
Oh no! Like Nick can't come back. You know who I'm almost thinking deserves another shot.
Steve's.
Who?
I think it's his young kid, Steve's.
Okay, so listen. I'm a fan of Steve's. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen David Kempf back in.
Yeah, well, he's exactly.
Because
there's a guy with win straws. Yeah.
Above all else, that guy on faceoffs alone, he can kill penalties. So you can breathe Marner, you can breathe Matthews if he's in the lineup.
Guys isn't doing a bad job killing penalties now, is he?
No, don't misunderstand the point. I'm just saying it gives you options.
No, I'm just saying
it gives you options, right? How many times have we been out? We've seen a late icing, right? Yeah. And the guys have been on the ice forever and whatnot, and then you finally get the point to make a change, and the guy's coming off, and he's only been off really for 40 seconds, and now he's back on again. If you had a camp like that where you had trust in him defensively and knew he could win a face-off if the puck got iced, you may look at it a little differently. Is all I'm saying. It just gives you a different option, a different look. So, like,
I got one for Jack. So, like we were just talking about the Leafs top six and the lines, right? And the Barkov matchup. So, and you really, people, he doesn't play with them. They play on the power play. 5 of the 6 of them are on the power play, 3 or 4 or 5 times a game. They know where each other are. They're NHL hockey players, elite ones. They can play together. You don't need to, this isn't, minor hockey where you got to play with the same guys to get chemistry like they have it. So, Jack, if you're Berube going into the game tomorrow night, give me your first 2 lines.
No pressure.
Matthews,
yeah.
Matthew Nyes, and Max Domi.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, and who's on the second line?
Nylander, Tavares, and Marner.
Okay, so you bump Pacioretty down to the bottom 6. I like it, Jack. You know what, Domi's.
I hate it. I hate it, Jack.
You hate it?
I hate it.
They've had success, the 3 of them.
Listen, you're never going to convince me. I don't care. You'll never convince me that Max Domi is a reasonable option on a top line in the playoffs. Max Domi has had 2 goals that have been relevant in the entire series. Outside of that, he ran Barkov at the end of the game. Great. Thanks, Max. Other than that, he's been relatively useless.
What? He would rather, we were talking about the other night, Jack. I think he wants Nicholas Robertson in there.
This is what he does. This is what he does.
He keeps going around in the neutral zone and don't throw a hit. And at least you got Max that's standing up for his teammates. And I think he's been great.
Nice.
I give him a shot on that first line. I like what you did, Jack. And you know what? We know who's right. He just likes to hear himself talk, Jack, so don't get worked.
Here he goes. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready to go. So I got a couple other things, but I wanted to get your opinion. We don't have too much time, but I know you're a little fired up at the CDC or the Sportsnet or whoever is doing the games, the conglomerate of sorts. So tell us your thoughts.
Okay.
I don't pay attention as much as you, I guess, but yeah. Go
so listen.
No swearing.
No, and for once, my rant against Rogers is not going to have anything to do with Jen Botterill. And by the way, Rogers, thank you for not forcing her on television and giving us Derek Lalonde or whoever that guy is. He looks like Voldemort. He's terrible too.
Now you got Wheeler. Wheeler's in there this week.
Yeah, that's what we need. Like again, and here's the point I'm making. Okay, follow this logic. It's a Maple Leafs broadcast, okay, across Canada. And listen, I understand if you're in different provinces and you're fans of different teams and Toronto's the center of the universe. When Toronto's on, everybody watches. You either love us, you hate us, whatever. They get the highest ratings. There's a reason we're on all the time. Now, with that being said, Blake Wheeler played for the Bruins, played for the Jets. Why is he on? Why is Doug Gilmore not on? Why is Wendell Clark not on? Why is Felix Potvin? Give us somebody. Give us Sittler. Give us somebody that's a Maple Leaf fan who can talk about what it's like to be a Leaf in the playoffs. I'm watching the game and I'm hearing the announcers and they're going on and telling us about how great Florida is and how wonderful Florida is. I don't know how many Florida American fans are living up here that are watching Rogers Sportsnet and Hockey Night in Canada and want to hear what's going on from a Florida perspective. It was Mother's Day, okay? They made this big play about Joseph Wall's mom being in the stands, and isn't it great? And Joseph's going to have a great game. And then in the first intermission, I watched a profile on Matthew Tkachuk's mother. Why? Why are we watching Matthew Tkachuk's mom? Was there no other mom from the Maple Leafs that we could have talked about, that we could have brought in, that we could have saluted? I don't care what Matthew Tkachuk thinks. I don't care what Matthew Tkachuk's mom wants. I don't care about any of it. Talk about the Leafs. In that game, they are so anti-Leaf all the time. In the U.S., if you want to watch Monday Night Football, you can watch a Spanish feed. You can watch a Manning cast. You can watch an ESPN cast. You can watch an ESPN2 cast where they draw up plays and design stuff. But in Canada, God forbid, on one of the 873,000 channels that Rogers has, that we can't get Joe Bowen to do a broadcast. It's obscene. It's obscene. It's embarrassing. Shame on Rogers. Shame on Bell. Shame on the Maple Leafs. And another thing, send Joe Bowen to do the games. This is ridiculous. A multi-billion-dollar corporation, and we're having Joe Bowen do away games from his house. Like, it's just
the chemistry that he and Ralphie have is, oh man. I agree.
I get hot. I get hot when it's because I'm sick and tired of year after year after year of hearing the Leafs, and it's like they're so overtly trying to be nonpartisan, and non-encouraging of the Leafs. They go over the top to be the other way. And John, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. It might be a hot take, but I also believe this to be honestly true. No, I believe this to be honestly true. If you watch the officials, most of them are from Ontario, right? And they come in and they do Leaf games. And I believe if you go back and you look after year after year after year, the Leafs don't get the calls. And I think it's because it's the officials are trying to be overtly nonpartisan. So no one can say they're not hometown guys. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree. I know a lot of guys that have officiated at the high level. I don't think if you're getting to that point, at the end of the day, it's all arbitrary, right? A penalty isn't. It's not like they went to tennis where they have the robot that tells you whether the ball's out or not. There's still and there's always gonna be human element into it because there's a lot of judgment stuff. It just, I think the eyeballs on it, they could make a guy nervous for sure, right? If he knows he's, maybe that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's tough. I mean, you're under the microscope, and I get it. But I mean, the officiating the other night could have been, you could make a pretty good case. Yeah, and Chief said it in his presser when they said, "Oh, do you think Domi's going to get suspended?" This is after the game. He goes, the Kulikov hit on Marner was 10 times worse, and he's right. Right? It was bad. No call.
Well, it's intent. Listen, either you're trying to get hits to the head out of the game or you're not.
Exactly.
So what? And by the way, just wondering, Wes McCauley, born in Georgetown, Ontario. I believe the Leafs are 0-9.
Yeah, so he's got a thing but it was with Sheldon.
All I'm saying is
family issue with it's true. Him and Sheldon had I don't know, somebody was married to somebody's sister, goofy. And that came up last year or 2 years ago. And
0-9.
Yeah.
Born in Georgetown.
Game 3,
just saying.
Yeah. But again, like, don't panic, folks. Could be 4-0. Right? You haven't played the game the way that this team could play the game, and they're 2-2 with 2 of the 3 at home. So,
and Johnny, what I will say here, and just I agree with you 100%. You remember I think it was game 2, we were up and Florida got those 2 goals quick and Chief called the timeout.
Yeah.
And he said, guys, everybody relax. We're fine. We're fine.
He didn't even talk. They didn't even draw anything up. They just
no. That was just there was nothing to draw up.
Yeah.
That was just him telling everybody, deep breath. We're fine.
Yeah.
Relax. Take 30 seconds. We're gonna call a timeout. Everything's okay. Regroup and play our game. And I really think that's the message here.
Yeah, right? For sure. I mean, they had to tighten up a few things, but not too much. I was pleased. But what I was going to go to, and I'm going to ask Jack first. So with the hit, you saw the hit on Domi from behind on Barkov at the end of the game, and then the beacon and the couple scrums. Is Florida going to come out and retaliate that Domi hit, in your opinion? Do you think that they're going to come out and go after Domi at the game tomorrow night?
I don't think they're going to go after Domi, but I think they're still going to be really physical.
Yeah, I mean, it is the playoffs. It'll cost them too much if they go after him, take a major penalty or something. You're right. That makes perfect sense. So I just wanted to talk about the other three series quickly. John will be back, but why don't you and I talk first about the Carolina-Washington? So Carolina is up 3-1 on Washington. My opinion on that series is it's pretty boring hockey. Right. Anytime I've turned that series on, I haven't really been excited to keep going, and I'll get disinterested and watch something else. To be honest with you, I don't see the physicality in the other series. I don't see the hatred in the other that you see in the other series. And it's Carolina is a notorious trapping team. They're either left wing lock. They're doing something that makes the game not fun defensively, and that wins championships. Ask the New Jersey Devils of the 90s and early 2000s how to win championships, and that they're looking at that recipe there. What do you think is going to happen, Jack, in that series? So 3-1 Carolina now. You think it's over in Game 5?
Yeah, I think Carolina's going to win Game 5.
Yeah, and they're in where are they? Game 5 back in Washington, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so all I'm going to say to you about that series, and I agree, snooze fest.
Yeah.
Before you get too excited about Carolina, just remember who the goalie is.
Ready. I know, and he's been on.
Just remember. So I'm telling you, you're going to get to a point in this series where it feels like Carolina's in control, and there's going to be 2 minutes to go or 3 minutes to go, and it's going to be a floater from the blue line that's just going to find its way home. I hope I'm wrong. Listen, my nephew is the biggest Carolina fan going, loves Sebastian Aho. And by the way, Sebastian Aho, hell of a hockey player. That guy's had a great series. But if Freddie's your goalie, I'm sorry, I don't believe in you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're going to wrap it up, whether it's in Washington or in Game 6 at home. So go over to the Edmonton Vegas. That's a shocker to me. Like I had Edmonton losing to LA. That's how much I know, right? Edmonton, we talked about it earlier. The best players are stepping up when they need to, and then when they don't, there's other guys that you don't even know who they are. Who's that guy that scored? Those kind of guys are chipping in, and they're defensemen that have been notoriously, screw ups and make bad plays and poor decisions. Are like Bouchard is much better defensively than he's ever been, right? He's always had that offense.
Oh, he's on a heater. He's on a bit of a heater defensively.
Playing great. Nurse has been playing like they're missing their best defensive. I mean, they're doing remarkable things right now, and it's because of McDavid and Draisaitl leading the charts. So, I see that one wrapping up pretty quick.
Not Patty Kane. What's his name? Evander Kane.
Evander Kane comes back in the lineup, missing all year. He's playing like he was 15 years ago when he came into the league.
Yeah, with the Jets.
Scoring. Corey Perry, right? Looks like he's 25 again.
I mean, right? Perry does what Perry does.
You think that wraps up right away, 5 or 6, Jack, Edmonton?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, John?
No, I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer in their goaltending either. I don't think Vegas is worried at all.
Oh, well. Down 3-1, I'd be worried, but
no, I don't. I think Vegas they're an experienced hockey team. They've been there before. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
Edmonton's got C-level goaltending that can abandon them at any point in time. If I'm Vegas, listen, you don't want to be down 3-1, but do either of you guys believe it's impossible for Vegas to win 3 in a row against Edmonton?
No, absolutely not.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
I still think Edmonton wins it at home in Game 6. My opinion.
See what happens.
Then the last series we want to talk about, Dallas and Winnipeg. I mean, that's just and Heiskanen's back, by the way.
Okay, so listen. Here, listen. You guys know my opinion. Listen, you know my opinion on the goalie, right? Yeah. It took an emergency resuscitation with 2 minutes to go to save his life. Because I'm telling you right now, if they lose that series to St. Louis, he's not the goalie in Winnipeg next year. I'm telling you right now.
So they'll trade the reigning Hart and Vezina champion?
Yeah, I mean, what difference does it make if you can't win you in the playoffs? Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations. You won a regular season award. Great. Year after year. I'll say it once. I said it 1,000 times. I don't believe in the goalie. I don't believe in him. Until
Jack, Will Winnipeg come back? What is it, 2-2, isn't it? Is it 2-2 right now, or is it? Yeah. What do you think, Jack?
I think it's going to go to Game 7, but Dallas will win.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack, let me ask you this question.
Rantanen is having a little bit of a run too, right? We don't forget.
Solid. But, Jack, let me ask you this question. If you were the Winnipeg Jets, okay, and you had Hellebuck in net, MVP candidate, Vezina winner, and you had a chance to move him because he hasn't delivered for you in the playoffs, would you do it?
No.
Wow. Okay. Why?
Because I still think he can be good. He just got a shutout too.
Okay.
I've got one more question for both of you, then we're going to make our prediction. Okay.
Yep.
Here's my question. You're Craig Berube, and we don't know, it's behind closed doors. This afternoon, Stoller skated. He's good. He's cleared.
I know where you're going.
And you got it tomorrow. You got to say, okay, who's starting for us in Game 5? Jack Stollers, who hasn't played since what?
Game 1.
Game 1, or Wall, who was arguably the best player on the ice in Game 4.
I'd start Wall.
Yeah. Why?
Because he's been really good the past couple games.
Yep.
If he has a bad game, then I'll put Stollers there.
I think that's the right thing to do. What do you think, John? Same?
Yeah, what like for the record, Joseph Wall is not the reason we're losing.
No.
Right? No. Like here's the thing, guys. We got shut out last game. You can't win hockey games if you don't score goals. Yeah. That's the reality. And
it'd be a good problem to have, right? It'd be a real good problem to have, but I would like to see him get a couple more practices in before.
But Johnny, the other thing too is, listen, I'm a big fan of him skating, and it's great. I'm glad he's skating, and I'm glad he's back. There is a massive difference between you're out on the ice skating and then you're competing. What happens if it's the first? And listen,
and Panthers.
We watched Ekblad.
You think when he comes back, they're gonna go, oh, we better not go near Stoley, our old teammate. No, they're gonna be worse.
Do you want to know what I want? I want somebody to come out in the first shift of the first game, fire a puck at Bob's head, just drill him.
Yeah,
like I'm talking go old school, right? Because you've seen that Florida has no problem, right?
Yeah,
getting going in the net. This is what I want to see from guys like McMatthews or Lorentz or Domi to make themselves get into the game. You get that puck, you drive to the net. Drive to the net. Go hard. And if you take him. I don't even care if you get a penalty on the play. Right?
Oh, I would have done some damage at the end of the last game
that is what, and I think that's a little bit of the difference between the style and the type of players that the Leafs have and the type of players that Florida has. The Florida guys have won a cup. They understand they're going to do whatever it takes to win. They don't care, right? Old school, old time hockey. Go to the net, drive hard, see what happens. The Leafs.
I said it the other night. You should dress Reeves and Kyle Clifford.
Can't dress.
I know you can't. But wouldn't that be something? And starting for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, Ryan Reeves and Kyle Clifford are playing on the wing. And then
do you remember when Keefe did that against Boston or against Tampa? Remember the last game of the season
Yeah.
Like Tampa gooned it up, and they suckered Keefe in, and he put Simmons and Clifford in the lineup, and one guy was suspended. The other guy got tossed out of the game, and it was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
By the way,
I was obviously being facetious, but okay, we're gonna go predictions. We're gonna start with Jack.
Before we go to predictions, we've got Kelvin Friesen, who
Kelvin,
your boy Kelvin, who just who chimed in and said that actually Matthews has been pretty decent, and he's found him to be a lot more engaging in the past with checking people and taking guys and making sure. So Kelvin, I agree with you, buddy.
This is also what Kelvin said when we were talking about the two ghosts.
I mean, it's a little bit of a contradictory comment, but fair enough.
No, Kelvin's a good guy from Saskatoon. I know him. Thanks for watching as always. But anyway, we'll do some predictions. Jack was bang on last time he was on this show and made a prediction. He got the score right and the winner. So
come on, Jack, bring it home, buddy.
Jack, do you want to go first so we don't copy you?
Sure.
What do you got?
Like the series score?
We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. We're going to talk about Game 5 tomorrow night.
Man, slow down.
Scotiabank Arena.
I think that Toronto is going to win 4-3 in overtime.
Who's going to score the winner?
Morgan Riley.
Wow. By the way, shout out to Morgan Riley, who became the all-time leading goal scorer for Maple Leaf defensemen in the playoffs.
He's playing well. I mean, he had a couple of go off him the other night, but they're not his. I mean,
he had a hat trick the other night, just the wrong kind.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great prediction. John, what do you have?
Okay, so I honestly believe that now Bob is locked in.
Yeah.
And the days of getting 4 or 5 and 6 goals against Bobrovsky are not happening.
Yeah.
So I've got it a 3-2 hockey game.
Okay.
And I'm of a mixed mindset, man. I love, and I mean love, and I might take a little bit of heat for this. I love the game OEL's played with. I think he's been a silent, solid, steady guy.
He's more physical and ballsy than I ever gave him credit for.
No, I've loved watching OEL play. And so I want to pick OEL because I've seen he's been close. He's got 10 or 11 shots already. I like everything about his game, but because I pumped his tires and said that the tide is going to turn, I got to go with 34. 34 has got it. Like for me, my God, Austin, I've called you the savior since you were drafted. Just bloody well deliver, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to go 4-1 with an empty netter.
Okay, empty netter. Fair enough.
4-1 Toronto, and I think the winner is going to be Matthew Nyes. So thank you to Bjorn, Don Cherries. We're just under an hour, which was our target. Any words, Jack? Hopefully you're right, or we're all right. We all picked Toronto. Thanks again, and enjoy the game tomorrow night.
Go Leafs, go.
See ya.